Margaret is a 2011 film written and directed by Kenneth Lonergan, who you might know for his other film, Manchester by the Sea, which won him an Academy Award. Margaret was supposed to come out in 2005, but it took over 6 years of editing. The studio and the director did not see eye to eye. Lonergan was contractually required to deliver a cut not longer than 2.5 hours. But with a 186-page script, his version came in at over 3 hours. He wasn't willing to budge. After battling the studio, his producer, several lawsuits, and a recut with the help of Martin Scorsese that was meant to be a peace offering but still going longer, things didn't go Lonergan's way and the film was finally released, just 30 seconds shy of the 150-minute mark.
Yeah, your cowboy hat! Where'd you get it?
The reviews were mixed. The studio pulled back on the marketing and the film was a box office disaster. With a budget of $14 million, the film made just a little over $46,000 domestically. That 150-minute studio version was not the one that I first saw.
I had heard about the project for a while and I was kind of obsessed with it because I was a huge fan of his.
I first learned about Margaret when I read an interview by Jennifer Lane, the editor of Manchester by the Sea.
His goals were kind of trying to like push the envelope of like not to the point where people are comfortable, but like beyond that point, you know, like so like people really feel like they're like living with this girl. And I think with Margaret, that's why the length of it was so important to him. I wish this movie kept going. Whatever he was trying to accomplish, I think, was effective and really interesting. He was editing the way that I hadn't seen necessarily been done before.
What happened to you?
Nothing. Hello?
I immediately sought out the director's cut, watched it, and I was absolutely taken by his film. That same night I watched the studio version and realized that it left me cold. It felt much longer and boring, even though it was 36 minutes shorter. Why can a film be a masterpiece at 186 minutes and just okay at 150? It was then that I decided to take a closer look at the editing and structure of both versions. I spent weeks going through every cut and compare the changes. Okay, so this is a much bigger moment here in the extended version. Margaret should have been Anna Paquin's second Oscar win.
Good one, Lisa.
Instead, her performance was literally cut short and vanished with the film's fate. I have two different versions of the film. One is the sort of approved version by the director, and the other one is the enforced version by the studio. There are a couple of things I want to look at. First of all, what are the key scenes that have been omitted? What are some scenes that have been reshuffled? And what is like in the detail, how they're cut differently? Let's take a look at this particular scene because it's the first real relationship dialogue scene.
Hey, how'd you do?
Hey, Darren. It was fine.
So I sunk these two up. It's the same take. We hear both audio.
It's very lovable.
Here's the kicker. Did you just notice something?
What are you doing now?
Even though it's the same take, you have this car drive by in the extended version that's hiding a cut. So this is a digitally added car that was just composited in.
What are you doing now?
And it's probably still the same take, but they took some air out in between. And it's a really small little tweak to just help the overall flow of the scene.
Everybody loves Mr. Aaron.
What's that supposed to mean?
Nothing, the man is very lovable.
Yeah, we just got back.
Kenneth Lonergan and his editor revisited each scene in the film
What are you doing now?
and made minute changes throughout.
Nothing, the man is very lovable.
Took tons of pictures.
What are you doing now?
By adding this car, they were able to take out 3 seconds of air and kept us more engaged. These 1,000 little tweaks have an overall subtle impact on the audience experience. This one holds the shot just 10 frames longer. It's what I call massaging or frame f***ing. Shaving off a few frames here or adding them has a cumulative effect. In the extended version, we go to the reverse shot of the students much faster.
Okay.
If an audience continuously gets too much room to predict the outcome of a scene, it can lead to boredom. But this works the other way as well. If a film is cut short, it can lead to the audience feeling confused. As you can tell throughout the film, a lot of frame futzing here, where like small things are extended. Disengagement happens when the audience is either confused or bored, the two deadly sins of storytelling. Now, when you have a studio requiring a specific time length, you are in a position to make sacrifices that can harm the film. Just to give an example of a scene that they added in the extended version that I think is really key and should have been there anyway, where she tells her mom that she's pregnant.
Okay, what do you want to do?
What do you mean? Aren't you going to tell me what
It's
to
your
do?
body, it's your baby.
Baby?
Yes.
The daughter's asking her, should I get an abortion? And she says, it's your body, it's your decision, which is not the most compassionate reaction to that.
I'm never going to tell you, Mom. It's against my principles. So
No, but you want to send that bus driver to jail for running a red light and you won't tell me about these boys?
So mom is mishandling the situation, but ultimately she's there for her because she goes to the abortion clinic to her. I like these cutaways. Single mom, there's obviously a dad who's not really happy to be there, but look at his body language. He's like turned away from her. I love that. This is directing, obviously. And the daughter really wants to connect with her.
I'm sorry, Mom. Let's talk about it later.
And the mom, again, is not reacting in the greatest way. It's okay, we're getting through this, I'll support you, whatever. She's like, let's talk about it later, like dismissive. And this is important. This is an important story beat for the probably second most important storyline in the movie. Has been cut short by taking out the abortion scene and the mom, the way that she reacts, to really add the subtlety and the richness to this film. Stripping key scenes can compromise character turns that the audience might need to actually care. Instead of tightening storylines, there's potentially a better strategy to make your film shorter without letting it bleed. I remember in an interview, James Cameron said, when you are in that position where you need to make a movie shorter, he suggests take out entire storylines. And I was thinking about that. So if we had the 3-hour version here, and we need to bring it down to 2.5 hours, this movie has a lot going on. The main storyline is the accident and her coming to terms. Then there's the storyline of the bus driver.
Wait, you want to ruin my life?
And her trying to confront him. Really important storyline is with her mother. The mother is very self-involved and she's giving her ill advice when it comes to the accident.
That bus driver probably loses his job. Think about that before you say anything.
Then we have the love relationship that's going on and it's split into different parts.
Are you Ramon?
Yes.
And there's the storyline of Ramon find interest in the mother and they started dating and becomes a bigger part in the family.
Margaret, are you grieving?
And this is a storyline that I think could go. The English literature teacher has these discussions about Shakespeare and that's why the film is called Margaret.
And yet you will weep. And know why.
It sort of symbolizes what Lisa is going through. If I had my way, I would completely remove the storyline and we wouldn't lose a beat.
Come on, you can't be smoking a J on your way to a soccer game.
The other storyline that I think could be removed is with the dad, and this is actually Kenneth Lonergan, the director.
Yeah, that's about it on my end, sweetie.
The storyline in itself, while it adds a little bit,
Do you think I should go back to the police or what?
there's one key moment where she reveals to him that she lied to the police, but he is mirroring what the mother is saying. He's not standing up for her, he's not saying, hey, let me fly over, we'll figure this out together, we're going to the police, we're gonna set this straight. Removing these two storylines of the Matthew Broderick and the Kenneth Lonergan dad would satisfy the need to bring the movie in at 2.5 hours. But then you could, for the most part, let the movie breathe and let the audience have the experience that it really deserves to be. The re-edit includes often some major restructuring of a film to create a different experience. I was surprised to discover that both versions have basically the same scene structure. None of the major beats have been reshuffled to create a different flow of events. However, there's something else I noticed.
Calls me that they put us in this position of
You know what? I really don't want to shout from room to room. I'll be ready in 5 minutes. You can tell me everything I did wrong last night, and then maybe I'll give you a little preview of everything I'm going to do wrong tonight.
You know what? Fuck it. I'll just...
And I guess I was kind of waving back.
What has changed is the approach to sound and music. Lonergan and his editor pushed the concept of overhearing dialogue from bystanders.
Finally, the woman calls up and says, "I'd like you to know that your husband has another wife."
To me, this made the city itself play an immersive role, letting us feel how our characters are stuck in their reality.
And if you didn't feel like doing it though, then...
Musically, they also made bigger choices. The film feels more like an operetta with melodramatic elements.
Now you want to do the other nostril because you always want to be... Now you want to do the other nostril because you always want to be symmetrical.
This fits with Anna Paquin's character, who as a teenager with a trauma is experiencing life at a heightened stage.
This is not an opera.
You think I think this is an opera?
Yes.
You think I think this is dramatic?
I think you're very young.
I think it means I care more than someone who's older because this kind of thing has never happened to me before.
She's overreacting and we can now feel it in the music.
It's him, Mom. That's the one.
For me, the extended version succeeds in pushing beyond the uncomfortable. It is a masterpiece. The studio version is not. I think I found a few clues to why the film lost its soul. Lisa visits her teacher and she starts hitting on him. But there's one scene in particular that stands out to me as to what went wrong.
Thanks for letting me come over. I know you don't want me here.
The extended version of that scene is 6 minutes and 23 seconds. The studio version, 3 minutes 55 seconds. Significantly shorter.
Appreciate it.
Because YouTube won't let me play it in its entirety. Here's a sneak peek at a key scene in Margaret. To see the entire analysis, join me over on Patreon where I can go all out and you can have exclusive access to tons of more bonus content, handy plugins, worksheets and more. Thanks for watching and happy editing.
Or not even who I am, but what's going on inside me or all around me.
Did you just notice something between White Shot and this medium over the shoulder? This is a sign of an experienced editor. Now, there is a version out there of this movie that was cut by Martin Scorsese with the help of Thelma Schoonmaker. I would actually dare to say that this cut might have been made by Thelma Schoonmaker.
What's going on inside me or all around me.
I would say you probably didn't even notice it, even though now I pointed out to you to pay attention to it. I'm going to play it one more time, and now I'm going to give you a clue. Watch her